Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for another Journaling on a Budget extra. And today we're going to be, and this is, our extra is a lap book that we're making. And today we're going to work on the right hand side here. And we have our accordion file folder here and a pocket here. And then we have this page that we put in, but we didn't glue these two together because I told you we're going to do something there. So that's what we're going to do today. I've also pulled out an envelope to put on here, and that is because I really like to have envelopes in these lap books because to me they're kind of like a travel book or a collection book. I'm not a big journaler, so I like to collect things, but I don't really do a lot of writing, so I really like to have lots of pockets and envelopes that I can tuck things into. But first we're going to work on this page right here and finish it off. And what we're going to do, I don't know what you would call these. They're kind of like the little hole reinforcers, and except they're big. And so what we're going to do is I just have two pieces of fun foam here that I've cut to 1 inch thick. And what I'm going to do, this is 1 inch wide, and it's just the length of the fun foam. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center. For me, it's always easier when I'm doing 1 inch to like start at the 1 inch mark than to start at the edge. Okay, so I'm going to find the center. And my hole punch is probably going to come in about this far. I'm going to punch a hole in it. I just want to make a mark right at 1/2 inch. And then come to the other end and make a mark at a 1/2 inch. Okay, then I'm going to line them up and hold them together. And I'm just going to put my hole punch right on there. I'm passing the hole because I want my hole punch to be in as far as it will reach. And I'm going to just punch that out. The hole punches don't like the fun foam real well, so we'll just pull those out. It's not a big deal. I'm going to line this one up and give it a punch. There we go. And then we'll just pull those bits out of there. You can snip them out with your scissors if you want to, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to cut a line on here in just a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw a line, and you don't need to keep, at this point, I don't keep the two together. I do mark the back of this one and the front of this one, so that when I just want to glue them together. This is for extra thickness. When I glue them together, I can put those X's together and I'll know that they'll line up right. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are just going to draw a line from the outside of one hole to the outside of the other hole, because we are going to cut that out after we're finished decorating this. And then also draw a line from the outside of this hole to the outside of this hole. And this is going to be our pocket reinforcer. So we're going to cut that piece out. We don't need to do anything to that. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to go in, and just like all of our other stamps that we've made, you're just going to make some kind of a design. And you're just going to go all the way around, and you're just going to make a design of some sort. And when you're all done, and when you make your designs, you're going to want to make sure that you go through and that you rub on those really hard so that they make a dent, because you want that dent. And if you wanted to glue both pieces together before you do this, you can do that also. Sometimes that works better. Sometimes when you're coloring on this really hard like this, it almost cuts right through your fun foam. So if they're together, it won't do that as much. And I'm just kind of just doing this just very randomly because I already have one made that we can use. But I just kind of want to give you the gist of what we're up to. Okay, so when we get that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the corners with a pair of scissors. Here we go. I was going to say I didn't bring them with me. Okay, So I'm just going to round the corner like this. And you can do this any way that you want to. This is just how I do it. And then I'm going to take it and fold it this way, just so that the corners match. And I'm just going to follow that piece that's already cut there. I'm going to come down here, put that together, line it up nice and evenly. And cut that one right there. And then if you need to straighten it up a little bit, kind of have a little bump here and a point there. Just get rid of those. Okay, and now we're going to glue these two together. And then we're going to cut off, we'll trim the corners. Let me see here. I'm just going to put some glue on the outside edges because I'm going to trim the middle. So I really don't want glue where I'm going to cut it. So I'm staying outside of the holes. Here's my X and there's my X. So I know that's the way that they're going to line up. I'm going to do it just like that. Round off these back edges. The back edges don't need to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. We just don't want them sticking out because they're not going to touch our paper. So they're not going to make a mark on our paper. All right, so now we've got that. We're going to cut this center piece out because that's what we're going to use to tuck our tag into. And this is Nick the Booksmith when she did her lap book. This is what she did on one of her pages, or maybe even two. And I really like these. I think they're pretty cool. So I have them in my lap book. So we're going to just cut that from hole to hole. Come over to the other side. And do the same thing. Excuse me. Now this is not what we're going to put in our book. This is what we're going to use as a stamp. Get that out of there. And if you find that you don't, if you've got some spots that need to be cleaned up a little bit, you can just clean those up a little bit. But this is going to be our stamp. So you can put this either on another piece of fun foam, you can put it on a piece of cardboard backing, and then you just ink it up. My ink pad's getting a little bit dry. This isn't the one I thought it was, but we'll get a little bit of an idea here of what we're doing. And then you're just going to take a piece of paper and I like to use like cardstock, but this one I'm just going to, just so you can kind of see what we've got going on here. And then that is going to make your little hole reinforcer, and then you just cut them out. Okay. And there we go. Now, once you have them cut out like this, then we're going to need to take this out. But see, this gives us a nice guideline. You say, well, why did you cut it out of here? I cut it out of here so that I would know where to cut it on here. Or you can just draw it really heavy on here so that you'll know where to cut it on here. Either way, because the other one that I have, I didn't cut it out of my stamp. I only cut it out of my paper. So then what we're going to do, because we put our punch, excuse me, all the way in, you should be able to pretty much go all the way in and give it a punch, and it should punch in the right place. So you'll punch it there, and you'll punch it there. And this is super thin paper because it's just the paper out of the book. And then you will cut it like this. And now this is going to get glued in our book where we have a nice slice to put our tags in, and it just makes for a really cool look. So I have some here. This is the one that this is my original one that I made, and it's kind of hard to see, but this is what it turns out like after you stamp it. And so, and the reason that this is just a sample because I did it really quick, but actually even doing it really quick, it still looks pretty cool. You don't have to be, you know, this one I was just sitting and just playing with it in the evening and just put a little bit more detail into it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ruler on here, and I'm going to cut out the hole for our tag to tuck into. And you just kind of want to go from the bottom of the hole, whoops, to the bottom of the hole so that it kind of looks straight, and then just round it on the end. Just like that. And so there's one, and I have another one here. I'm going to get all the way down to the bottom of that hole. Okay. And there we go. So now we have two of them, and these are going to go in that spot that we're working on that we left open. Okay. So we don't want to forget to put our envelope in there. Oops, I have it upside down. I do that quite often. Alright, so I'm going to set this in here so that I don't forget, hopefully. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put these on here, just like this. One here and one here. Now I could have left this side open and I could have put one on each side like that. But this will give us a shorter tag and a longer tag that we can put in there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue that. I need to find something to wipe the glue off my bottle. Okay. I'm going to glue it on here, and then I am going to cut around this to make a hole. Actually, I'm not going to. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to line this up where I want it. I have a little bit on each side. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And I'm going to use a pencil. And I'm going to mark it because we have a nice wide spot here. I'm going to cut, oops, I'm going to cut just outside this line so that you're not going to see this paper underneath. So I'm going to put that one there. And I'm going to put this one right here. I'm going to look and see, do I have them about the same? I need to move this one over a little bit. There we go. And of course I have a pencil that's not sharpened and only writes on one side. There we go. Okay, so now I've drawn around my holes, and I can stick this back in here. And now I don't have to be as careful because I'm going to go on the outside of the lines, and you're not going to see it at all. I have to put my glasses on. I'm just going to stay outside the line just about 1/8 of an inch or something. little bit more off of this one. And when I get down here, because we've got the extra here on the end, I'm just going to make a straight cut outside of the line. And the same thing on this end. Just make a straight cut outside of that line. Just like that. Okay, so now we've got this messy hole. It doesn't matter because we're going to fix it with this. We're going to take this and we're going to glue it on here. Let me see if I should have actually, because there's two different ones and they're handmade, they're not going to be exactly the same size. Okay, this is the one probably that goes here, but I need to take a little bit more off this end before I glue it on. You don't want to take off too much because you only have, but you have about a 1/2 inch. So, I mean, you are pretty good as far as having room to just make that hole a little bit bigger. Oh, and then I ripped my paper. That's okay because we'll fix it when we glue this on. I think it was this one. And there we go. So we're going to glue this on here. Excuse me. And then this pocket will go all the way to the bottom. Now, if you don't want it to go all the way to the bottom, you can glue it in the middle. Maybe we'll do that too. Maybe we'll glue it part way down. I'm going to put this paper wipe off any extra glue. Make sure it looks pretty straight. I'm going to take this out now to make sure I can get a good press on it. Okay, and there we go. Now I'm just going to come down here and cut this one out, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I did this one just exactly the same way as the top one, except I didn't rip the paper on this one. And so now before we glue this together, and if you want to have a different color behind there, now is the time to do that. Do it on here. I like the cream color behind it. I like how it stands out. And so I'm going to leave the cream color behind there. But now before we glue it together, we need to get our envelope stuck in here. So I've decided that I want my envelope to be right about like that. I want to have a little bit of a border around the edges, and so I made a fold in the envelope. I'm going to fold it back this way. Make sure we get it straight. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is, here's my fold that's going to go over top of here, just like that. That's going to go in like that. And now I just want to make sure I'm going to cut this off because I don't want to see it behind here. And I need to make sure that my fold, see, my fold is coming down to here. I need to cut it about a 1/2 inch along here is all I want to have left so that I can glue it on there and it won't show through our little slits. Maybe it's actually only about a 1/4 inch, we'll say, is what I'm going to cut it. And there we go. I'm going to put it on here just to make sure that that's not going to show. Fold my paper back down again. Yep, we're not going to see that. Okay. And then what we want to do is this extra bit of envelope here we need to get rid of, because otherwise once we glue that down, it's not going to it's going to catch, so we can't put things in there. But what I really want to do is I want to cut the envelope right here. And so I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm just gonna draw a really light line on there. And then cut just past it to cut that off. And cut down the side. Like that. And then just below the line so that it doesn't show. Do the same thing on this side. And now this envelope I think I'm going to collage on. And so that's going to give us a little bit more sturdiness on it. Cut just below the line. Oops. And I need to get, I made the line just below this little bump in the envelope, so I need to cut that off just so that it's straight. There we go. Get that off of there. Okay, so now we have a straight, so it's not, doesn't, and then we're going to collage this so it won't look as much like an envelope because we have so many envelopes in here. All right, and I just want to do a quick trim on here. Because when you're trying to cut on a fold, a lot of times you don't get a good straight line. So just kind of want to straighten that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to put it in here. We're going to glue it here, and then we're going to glue the pages together. So that's going to grab it on both sides of this little flap. So that should make it sturdy. Make sure that I have it lined up top and bottom where I want it. And that looks good. Fold that over. Just make sure it gets a good hold first. And then we are going to glue these two pages together now. So do we want this to be a full pocket all the way to the bottom? Maybe we will go ahead and glue across the middle. So this pocket will only go this far and this pocket will go this far. Okay, so we're going to just glue around the whole top and then just the edges. I'm going to catch that spot where I ripped the paper. Come down this edge and just across the bottom because we don't want to close up that pocket. And then over here on the edge, get rid of that. And then here I'm going to go just above the other start of the pocket. We'll just bring those two together and give them a good press. Up the middle, the top and the bottom, along the spine, okay, now because we have two pages hooked together like this, and they'll fold at a little bit of a different increment, we're going to let it dry before we fold it down. Then they will fold together. Otherwise, when you fold it, they'll just want to shift just a little bit, but you just don't want them to shift. So there we go. Make sure that we're pressed in all the places that we glued. And so now we have the two pockets on this side And we have the envelope that we're going to collage on this side. And then we'll need to do a pocket or a belly band or something here. And I haven't decided what yet. Possibly, I think maybe we will put a paper pad here with a hidden pocket underneath. If we haven't done that yet, and I don't think that we have. So I think that we're going to do that on the next video. So there we go. This is what we did today. I think that these look really cute. I really love them. When Nick the Booksmith showed them, I'm like, that is so cool. And I thought maybe they were stickers or something that she had. And they weren't. She made them herself. So she didn't make a stamp for it. So you don't have to make a stamp for it. You just can cut out an oblong sheet of paper and round the corners and cut a slit in the middle. So, but thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We're just on to all of the decorating now, getting it finished up. So hopefully, I don't know how many more, maybe 5 or 6 more. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.